everyone, it's John from What Up, and welcome back to another video and another edition of Talking Wheel of Time with. Now today I have with me London River, who's going to talk all about the Wheel of Time, how she found the books, her favorite characters and whatnot today. London, if you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into the Wheel of Time.
Okay. Well, I'm London River, like you said. I don't know. Socially awkward. I'll just reintroduce myself. But I'm an adult trainer. I think is the polite way we put that. So like only look for me if you're an adult. um, and yeah, and very active on Twitter, like with Wheel of Time stuff. It's a very strange combination Twitter of mine, but I think that's how we found each other.
100%, yeah, no, 100%. Both been part of Twitter Time for a very long time. So I've left a link to London's Twitter down below if you want to follow her over there. A lot of stuff about Wheel of Time, a lot of stuff about her work life as well, if you'd like to follow her for that. So before we get into the actual video, I do have to give a spoiler warning because we are talking the Wheel of Time and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things and spoil all kinds of stuff. So spoiler warning, in today's video, we're talking all things Wheel of Time. So if you haven't read at least all of the books, that's New Spring all the way up through and including A Memory of Light by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, and haven't watched the TV shows, that's episodes 1 through 8 on Prime Video, be forewarned, we're going to ruin plot points, character arcs, and all kinds of stuff from both adaptations and the books. All right, so Wheel of Time, how did you find the series first? Like, when did you first pick it up, and what drew you to it?
I picked it up in an airport when I was 12. And what drew me to it is I liked the cover. I just had to like do a coast to coast flight and I needed to read. So that I got The Eye of the World then and like got hooked on it while I was on the airplane and then traveling and seeing relatives and stuff. And you always look like people leave you alone if you're reading a book, especially when you're, a kid, because they want to encourage that reading thing. And so that was kind of the start of it. And then I was just like, okay, I actually want to read the next book. So it was like the first series I really like dug into. And it's probably my favorite, but that's probably partially why I think it's a little bit like I have some bias for it because I was like,
yeah.
oh, man, that's neat. Yeah.
So if you had to pick one character out of the book series, now I know, I don't know if you're the same as me, but every time I read it, I tend to have new favorite characters, although I have one particular character I really love, no matter how many times I read the series. If you had to pick one, who would that be?
Oh gosh, that really does change every time I read it. And it really changes depending on where we are in the series. I'm gonna have to say Rand. He used to be one of my least favorite characters, and then after like rereads and me becoming an adult and like going through life and stuff, I would say he's my favorite. Just because, man, that's a lot. Boy, a lot going on.
He's never been my favorite, I don't think, in any of the rereads I've done. In fact, I think the last couple times I read the books, I didn't like him at all. So,
like, I hated him the first time. I was like, "Oh my god, this whiny little bitch." Am I allowed to say? Am I allowed to swear on this channel?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I'm like, oh, you're a whiner and you're like moody and like kind of abusive and shitty. And the older I get, the more I'm like, okay, I actually like this is a lot to put one character through. Like the fact that he comes like at all human is a miracle. And so, yeah.
Well, the amount of trauma he goes through in all the situations, 100%, but I still don't like him.
Yeah. I mean, as far as likable characters, for me, there's like almost none of the characters are likable from start to finish.
That's true. I mean, and I've poor taste, obviously, because Gowan's my favorite character, so.
Wow.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, I think I knew that. I think I saw you post that at one point, but I might have thought it was sarcasm. Oh wow. That's wild. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I got that. My wife said you don't even have my name on you, and I got Gowan's name tattooed on me. So
That's interesting. I've never heard that. Yeah, I think I saw you say something like that on Twitter, and I think my brain just was like, "Well, that goes in the sarcasm bucket." That's good. That's be true. Yeah.
so throughout the whole series, and we're talking start to finish, if you had to pick one scene that was your absolute favorite that you can't wait to see adapted, what would it be?
I know everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people are saying this. Do My As Wells is going to be my favorite to see adapted, I think.
I hope they keep the core of it. Like, I want to see Ashman kill. I want to see the whole dome lifting up, and I just want to see. I don't know how far they're going to go with the gore, but I hope it's far.
I think that they have to, because because when you're reading it, like, like the if you have a good imagination, it is something that, like, yeah, you would never be able to unsee. And I hope they give us something that will haunt us for years. That's what I want.
Special warnings at the beginning of the episode. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, lots of them. like you may not want to watch this. Like, seriously, your kids should not be in the room for this.
So if you had to pick, so this is going to be a difficult question, and I asked this to, I don't know if you know Christy Luss or not, but she's a screenwriter, friend of Sarah Nakamura, and I did this with her the other day, and I asked her this question, and this was really hard for her. If you had to pick one character out of any of the characters at all to kill off in the show, because we know there's 2,782 characters. We know there's a ton of people in the books, and they're not all going to make it in the show. And the people that do make it in the show, they may only stay for a short period of time. So if you had to pick one person that's already introduced in the show, so we have our group of people in the show, and if you had to kill off one of those characters, which one would it be?
If I have to, someone that's already introduced in the show that has to die.
Somebody that's already introduced in the show, yeah. It's a hard one.
Okay, I'm gonna pick someone with a lot that's already had lines, like, instead of like Liana, which would be my first. I'm like, that's easy. Like, she hasn't said anything.
Who?
Swan. I think we could.
Swan?
Yeah. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I think that it could like, spur some of the other characters in different directions and things. And I think that, like, the story wouldn't be the same without her, but I think that it could, like, it could go basically the same without her and just be like, but I hope that doesn't happen, because
I would love to see Sophie stay the distance as Swan for the show, because she's such an amazing actress. But that's part of the problem. She's an award-winning actress. She's probably not cheap. she's
The show needs to make more money for us to keep her. I mean, or they change to, like, what happens, like, when you're still, do you revert to your younger self or something like that, and then they can change the actress.
I never thought about that. That's a very good point. When she gets stilled, they could sub in someone else, a relative unknown, which, I mean, a lot of the cast are either really well-seasoned actors or actresses that are there for a short period of time, or they're relative unknowns. So that's a really, I'd never thought of that before. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm full of good ideas. Too bad I'm not in charge.
So I do want to talk about a little campaign I saw on Twitter that had to do with you and a certain character.
Oh, yeah.
How did that start?
That didn't start with me. I don't remember who that started with. It was somebody on Twitter that said that, and then I just kind of, but, like, I'm also like, that's not going to happen. But it is a really sweet campaign. Like, I'm like, oh, that's of you. Like,
For those of you watching that don't know, there was a campaign. It's actually still ongoing. I see posts about it every couple of days, where they wanted London to play Grendel, which I think it's an amazing fan cast. I think it would be a really good idea. But would it be the character that you would choose to play? That's the question I have.
I would actually pick like Amis, honestly. But I don't fit that character as well. But if I were gonna pick a character, I would want to be like one of the Aiel. But you know, I feel like my personality fits that a little bit more. like, yeah, my job is to be seductive, but I'm not really sure I'm good at it.
No, that's pretty good. Like I've always said that if I had to play a character in the show, be maybe Andrel. I think would probably fit me best.
Yeah. Like if I were just going with like personality, like Amis maybe, or like Pavara, or like Varen, even though but like if like just, but like yeah, I would go with Amis. It would be like my number one. I would be like
Ami should be
that's
pretty cool. Do you think we'll
what
see her in season 2?
I don't think we will in season 2. I think we'll see her in season 3.
I hope so. They're writing it right now, so I'm pretty excited for some sort of announcement. We've heard almost no news recently about the show at all. But if you had to give a prediction when season 2 is going to drop, what do you think?
I think it'll be in November. No, it'll be later than that. I don't know. What else is dropping in November? I feel like there's other shit happening in November.
I know that we won't see it until at least Rings of Power is done, and that's late October, so we have that.
It'll drop around November. It'll be like a full year between.
Yeah,
Just drop.
You think
It
so?
dropped here, like right before Thanksgiving. I remember because
We
I
can
forced
hope anyway.
through it. That's how I know it was over Thanksgiving, because I was like, everyone sit down. we have we have we have we have homework to do because I'm not this. We're staying in a place with one television. I'm like, I don't care about your sports.
Turn them off. It's now time for the Wheel of Time.
I can't. Well, I can't like miss it because then it'll get spoiled for me on Twitter. So I just, yeah. But yeah, I think it's.
So before we started the interview, you did send me a message and you said you had to let Pips out. Who's Pips?
Pips is my dog. I don't know if like he's on my Twitter quite a bit, but he's a Belgian Malinois that wandered into my yard one day, and I never found the owner. I like posted everything I possibly could, and then I could never find him. But yes, I named him after the horse. But he's brown, so it works.
Yeah, he looks just like Pips.
Yeah, Pips is like it works. It works for him. And he's kind of scary looking, so I feel like give it like Pips is like this kind of nice name, and he's kind of a goober, so it like offsets how he looks and fits his personality more. So I can't call him like Killer or something because I don't want my neighbors to be scared of him. So
You don't want to be outside yelling Dre Hekar in the middle of the night.
what?
You don't want to be outside yelling Dre Hekar in the middle of the night after him.
Yeah. No, well, and that's hard to get out. Like when you're drunk and you have to yell at your dog, you don't want that. You want something. You want one syllable. Fixed.
So I have one last question for you. If you had to pick one of your favorite bad guys in the series, like any one of them at all, it doesn't matter if it's one of the small dark friends or one of the Forsaken, who would be your absolute favorite bad guy in the series and why?
I like Patton Fane. I think he gets screwed over in the end. I would have liked
100%.
more, but I really like reading about that character. Like every Fane chapter it's just because it's so creepy and dark and interesting for me, and you never get like the details of what he's done to people, but you know that they're traumatized by him. So you get to like go into like these deep, dark places in your head where you're like, what has happened here? That like, and And yeah, I like the way he develops as a villain. He goes from something that's like really pretty pathetic to something like extremely powerful. And I just think he got short shrift at the end there.
Oh, 100%. He was literally building up in my mind to be some sort of either Avatar of the Dark One or something absolutely crazy, and then he just
Yeah. He was ready to take on the Dark One and the Creator, and he kind of had the means to do it. And then all of a sudden, he's like dead, and I'm just like, oh, come on, like let's send him out in like glory at least. He deserved better.
maybe we'll get something. I know a lot of people don't like changes when it comes to the show, but I'm kind of hoping that that's one of the things they change, that they give him a little bit more of a compelling storyline and a better end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because his story actually could have been. It was hard. One thing I don't understand or never really got him like, how'd you end up like a dark friend in the first place? We never get like an origin story for him. We just get that like he swore to the shadow and then like ended up a little in over his head and now he's mad. And I'm like, yeah, you have every reason to be mad, but like what brought you here? And I would like to see more with him just because I just love him.
Prequel book or something, and maybe a whole
Yeah.
episode just on Fane, his how he became who he is. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, it would be really cool. Or if, somebody, I would settle for just like some fan fiction that would work. Like it's a really good writer. I'll be like, sure, I'll just canonize that in my brain. Go for it. But so to the writers out there, somebody give me a good story for Fame.
We'll put it out on Twitter, and I'm sure someone will do it, because there are a ton of actual really good authors on that are part of Twitter Time, and some of them I know for sure have written some fan fiction. They won't release it, but they have.
Come on, release it. we want to know. But yeah, when I always also I wonder like how are like regular dark friends summoned to like Shale Ghul? Like, what is that process? Because with the channelers, there's like this kind of element of like channeling and stuff. But if you're just like a regular dark friend, like,
I think this might be a question for Matt Hatch, but whenever they swear to the Dark One, I think they're linked to him, and other dark friends, if they've been long in the shadow, can sort of kind of feel who they are, and Fades definitely can't. So I think maybe they just send a Fade out to find them.
and can the Fade transport them directly back? Like
That I don't know. I don't know how they get there and back. That's
yeah,
that's
I
a really
wonder.
interesting question.
That seems like a long journey. I doubt they walked, but
They make them walk, yeah, with no shoes.
why would anyone swear to the shadow? You have to walk all the way, all over the place. That's
You spend
messed
most of your year going to the convention.
up. On foot.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. It was a whole lot of fun. I won't keep you a whole lot longer, but is there anything else that you want to bring up before we head out?
I really hope they don't cut the Pavara and Andral like weird romance thing. That
I
would
hope they
break
introduced them earlier. That'd be nice.
way earlier because like we got to enjoy them in the last books and I'm like, man, I hope they introduce them like now. Like I hope one of those red sitters we saw in, the first season in the Hall of the Tower is Pavara, like the plump woman, and I think she's sitting in the middle, and I'm like, is that her? And I hope that we get like all that. Anyway, that's what I hope for. I needed to point that out. Like I need more of that. It's my favorite.
You heard it here, Ray. For if you're watching or anyone else from production, we want more Pavara and Andral. Start them early.
I love them. Well, I love the fact that it's like these aren't young hotties. And I like that idea that people like it's like we always focus on everything like the young hot characters finding love. And I'm like, I want like that's not the world though. And anyway, okay, that's my or like I want less young and hot and more just like people.
Well, there's already enough of that in the show, as we can see. The cast is just, I don't think there's anybody who's not.
Who's not hot?
Yeah.
I know, they're all hot. I want like some, honestly, if I had a criticism, it would be that. I'm like, I want some less hot people. like, I think I could use some less hot people, just like normal, everyday looking people. But that's just me.
There you go. All right, well, thank you so very much, everyone, for sticking with us here at the very end, and here's to many more.